like crime dramas, I think this is a really good one. My only question would be, is this a superhero story? Because I think this is a really great crime drama with really, deep characters that have stuff going on. But I'd really like it if it mattered that this was Gotham City, right? And so far it doesn't really. There was one point where it looked like they were laying a foundation for it to matter, but that was it. And the plot itself so far is pretty, however you called it, unpredictable. And I kind of I see where you're coming from, but at the same time, it is a pretty well explored story, right? Like, crime boss gets killed, and now everybody else is trying to, there's a power grab, right? And everybody else is positioning themselves to make themselves better off, right? And that's kind of where this is going, or this is kind of what started. And I enjoyed every minute of this, and every line and every scene is wonderful. And I was kind of wondering what the point was. And I imagine that comes in episodes 2 and 3 and onwards. But that's kind of my one big question mark. It's not even a flaw. It's more my question mark. Like, shouldn't you have opened with the unique selling point? And I don't think they did.
I think you were talking about like it being like a superhero show, and I feel like what I've like mentioned before is that you have like this like great world, and you have like many facets to it, and we've like talked about it with like Star Wars, we've talked about it with like Marvel and this and the other, where it's a big wide world and there's like loads of things happening in it. And with the Batman universe as well, or like Matt Reeves' one, it's a lot more grounded as well. So that the fact that we're getting a grounded kind of like mob story within that, I feel like makes perfect sense. Like, I don't even need any of the superhero aspect to it at all or whatever. I just need a good grounded story following a good, great character, and fingers crossed sets up something that then leads into the next Batman movie to kind of like help further justify why it was needed and for something like kind of like support that. But even if we don't get that, the fact that we have more story in this sort of in this world that I'm like super invested in is more than enough reason for me.
Yeah, and just to clarify, I didn't mean unique selling point compared to the movie. I meant compared to other crime dramas. Okay. So which part of this is informed by the fact that this is in a superhero world? And there's like a few different aspects to this. One of them is that we have one movie in this continuity, right? Mm-hmm. And that movie was very light on fantastical elements. Like, I think some of the things the Riddler did, some of the tech was a bit heightened, but other than that, it's also a crime drama, right? Mm-hmm. And we have not really established yet how fantastical this world can get, right? Like does Ra's al Ghul exist in this world? Does magic exist in this world? Do superpowers exist in this world, right? And they don't have to. I'm just saying that's an open question. And the way this show positions itself is that it's just a crime drama. Now, there was one point where that wasn't true, and that is that they keep talking about how there's a new drug coming to the market. And that's an opportunity for them to get more fantastical, because they talk about how that will change all the rules and that will change the game. And that could just be a very lucrative drug that's very addictive, or it could be venom, or it could be scarecrow toxin, right? So we don't know yet, but they've set it up as something important. But that doesn't make this a bad story, right? But it's more like, does it matter at all that this is a world in which superheroes and supervillains exist, and the super tech and stuff like that, right? Because that's what I would want out of a Penguin story. That it's not just mobsters, right? Like large corners of the Batman universe is mobsters with gimmicks, and this one doesn't even have gimmicks, right? So that was kind of just the question at the back of my mind, and I'm gonna reserve judgment until this season is over. There are many good crime dramas out there. I don't think there are any stories set in a superhero world from the point of view of a villain. I can't think of any, and there have been comics like that, and they've been quite good. And that's kind of what would make this more interesting to me. But on a quality level, it's borderline flawless. Like, it's definitely, like, even if they don't do this, it's still an excellent crime drama.